All right, so here are the answers to the second skills assessment. For the first one, 9 twelfths reduces. 9 and 12 are both divisible by 3, so we can write this as 3/4. For problem number 2, they're both divisible by 5, so that gives us 1/3. And for 24/16, both 24 and 16 are multiples of 8, so that leaves you with 3/2. Now, if you wanted to, you could rewrite this as a mixed number as 1 1/2. That's not required, but if you wanted to, be my guest. And of course, for all of these, you could put them in decimal form. Okay, for problem 4, we just multiply straight across. Yes, there are 2 5s, but because they're not diagonal, they don't cancel. So this gives us 6/25. Then for problem 5, again, we multiply straight across. This will give us 2/15. No tricks there. For problem 6, we can cross-cancel to reduce. 2 goes into 6 3 times, and 2 goes into itself once. Then the 5 and the 3 are fine, so this gives us 5/9. Okay, next chunk of 3. These are all division problems, so we turn them into multiplication problems. This is 1/3 times 2/1, which just ends up being 2/3. Sorry, that should be 2/1. It looked kind of like a 7. For problem number 8, it looks like we should reduce, and we will, but only after we turn this into a multiplication problem. So 2/3 times 6/1, then the 3 and the 6 reduce, so we get 4/1, or you could just say 4. You don't need to write the over 1 if you want, because any fraction is a value, or any number can be written as a fraction if the denominator is a 1. For problem number 9, 5/8 times 8/3, and then the 8s cancel, so we get 5/3. Or if you wanted to as a mixed number, that's 1 and 2/3, but remember that's optional. Okay, for 10, 11, and 12, we're adding when we've got common denominators. So here we have 5/7, so there's nothing else to do. Here we subtract, so that'll be 2/12, but then that does reduce, and you do have to reduce things. So that reduces to be 1/6. And for number 12, we end up with, well, we start with 3/9 when we subtract the 4 from 7, then that reduces and gives us 1/3. Okay, for problems 13, 14, and 15, we don't have a common denominator which we're going to have to find. For number 13, it's a 6. So we get 1/6 plus 4/6 when we rewrite the 2/3 with the numerator denominator doubled. So that's going to give us 5/6 for our final answer. For problem number 14, the LCD is going to be 15. So I'm going to write this as 9/15 by multiplying the top and bottom by 3, plus 10/15 by multiplying the top and bottom by 5 for that one, which gives us 19/15. Or if you want, 1 and 4/15. And now I'm thinking, oh, for all those other ones that were mixed numbers, I should have gone back and said that that was an or to emphasize that you don't have to switch things. Because you have to reduce, but you don't need to switch from improper fraction and mixed number. That's up to you. For problem number 15, the common denominator is an 8, so that would give us 6/8, multiplying top and bottom by 2, minus 3/8 is 3/8, and that's all we can do for that answer. Okay, so writing these as mixed numbers, 3 goes into 26 times, with 2 left over, so that's 6 2/3. 5 goes into 7 once, with 2 left over, so 1 2/5. Mixed numbers as improper fractions. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 more gives you 16/3. 12 times 2 is 24, and 1 more is 25/2. And for these last few, they're particularly messy. So for problem number 20, and also for problem number 21, we're going to first change things into improper fractions and then work with them. So 2 1/2 becomes 5/2 times, and then 1 1/5 becomes 6/5. The 5s cross cancel, and the 2 cancels with the 6, And in the end, all that's left is a 3. Then for problem 21, we do a similar thing. This will be, I should have had an equal sign there. 10 thirds divided by 5 thirds. But then we turn that into a multiplication problem. So it's going to be 10 thirds times 3 fifths. And again, a lot of stuff cancels. And we end up with just plain 2. Okay, for problem number 22, because there is a common denominator, we can go ahead and add that. 4 plus 2 is 6. We have the number portion. Then the fraction portion would be 2 fourths. But we do have to reduce that, and we get 6 1/2. You could also say 13 halves if you really wanted an improper fraction. 23 is a little bit trickier because we've got to get a common denominator. So I'm going to rewrite this as 9 from the 6 plus 3 plus 2 fourths from the 1/2 with the common denominator 4 plus a fourth again, or 9 3 fourths. Or if you really want, 9 times 3 is 36 and 3 more is 39. So 39 fourths if you did it a different way. Like if you converted everything to an improper fraction then got a common denominator, your answer would probably look like 39 fourths. Okay, for problem 24 and for problem 25, it's a little bit tricky because we're going to end up carrying. So we're going to have 7 12/8 if we add that directly, which I'm going to write next as 7 3/2 by reducing. But then that 3/2, that should be 1.5 as a mixed number. And we need to switch that into a mixed number because we actually needed to carry that 1 to the 7. And our best answer is 8.5. Or 17 halves as a mixed number, or as an improper fraction. Same thing for 25, but we also have to get a common denominator. So I'm going to write this one a little bit differently to show you some of our options. 6 plus 4/8, that's your 6.5, because and actually means addition here, and the 1/2 written as a 4/8, plus 2 plus 7/8. So it'll be 8 plus 11/8 when I add the numbers and then the fractions. But 11/8 is 1 3/8, so 8 plus 1 3/8. So we should combine the 8 and the 1, and our final answer is going to be 9 3/8. Or, if you really want to, 75/8. Okay, lastly with the subtraction. Okay, first 8 minus 7 is going to be 1, and 5/8 minus 3/8 gives you 2/8. But then that reduces, and we get 1 1/4, or 5/4 if you want. Problem number 27 is a little bit tricky because you end up having to borrow. So what's probably going to be safest here is to convert everything to an improper fraction. So we'll get 49 fourths. 12 times 4 is 48, 1 more is 49, minus 10 plus 1 is 11 halves, or 49 fourths minus 22 fourths, as my dogs defend us from the neighborhood. Then we can subtract that and get 27, oh no, go away email, over 4. So there's our answer of 27 fourths, or if you prefer, it's 6 3/4. Okay, so there we have a bunch of different fraction examples. I hope that they were helpful.